My husband is letting his new gay employee call us slurs despite him knowing I don't like it one bit, and he keeps telling me to let it go, but I couldn't do it anymore and screamed at him to shut up or hang up the apron. I, 37M, and my husband, 39M, have been together for 11 years. My husband owns a small bookshop and recently has hired a boy to help him. This lad, I'll call him Joe, 19M, is gay, and while me and my husband very obviously have no issue with this, Joe seems to do things a lot differently to us. For context, both me and my husband are Irish immigrants to London. We grew up at 20 minutes away from each other and went to the same, very Catholic, school. We aren't exactly flamboyant or outwardly gay and don't exactly do PDA since that's how we were raised. On my lunch break from work I like to visit my husband, bringing him records I think he might like in his coffee. Recently, however, Joe has started making comments. It started small with him saying things about queer joy and how he loves gay couples, which we didn't mind at all. In all fairness, it's a fairly scary world for queer people right now, and I understand seeing a happy married gay couple means a lot for a kid. But then he started getting a little too comfortable for my liking. He started asking things like who's the top and calling us the F slur jokingly. I think it's entirely inappropriate to be making those comments to his boss, but my husband told me to let it go. Joe calls us the F slur a lot, which I had brought up a few times, telling him calmly to not do that, but when he continued I learnt to let go despite my distaste for it since it didn't seem to bother my husband too much. But last Wednesday, I lost it. I was up by the counter when Joe came in. He immediately started blathering on about how F slurity we are, and while my husband chuckled awkwardly, I did not. Joe noticed this and said I was a stick in the mud and repressed. I was trying to keep my cool until he called me a fenian maggot and I lost it. For anyone who doesn't know, the term fenian isn't exactly a slur or anything, but it isn't exactly nice either. Me and my husband jokingly call each other fenians or patties from time to time if we've something particularly Irish, and I've never exactly viewed as a very offensive word to me, but something about this English boy made me snap. I asked him if he thought that was an appropriate thing to say to his boss's partner and started shouting. Telling him Hess way out of play, and if he wants to keep his job he should buck up. I left to cool down a bit, and 30 minutes later got a call from my husband berating me, saying that Joe was crying and that Hess just a kid. I do feel really bad since Hess only young, but I still think he needed to be knocked down a step or two. Am I the jerk? Edit. I see a lot of people making comments about the nature of the relationship between Joe and my husband. My husband has asked Joe to stop on my behalf before, but this isn't something that really bothers my husband, and to be fair, it's his workplace, not mine. Commenter. Apologizing to this kid for what? He knowingly called op names after being told not to. Apologizing will only make this idiot young man think he's the victim, as he clearly has never been held accountable for anything. Update. Joe is my husband's son. I won't go too much into the details for both my and their privacy, but I had a major fight with my husband about why he was being so lenient with him and why we didn't have my back in this. We were shouting back and forth until he shouted something about blood being thicker than water. I shout back about him being just some boy, and he stopped suddenly. Then he told me Joe is from an ex-girlfriend of his who's now unable to take care of him, so my husband picked up. He's been paying child support for years. We each have our separate bank accounts, so I didn't even notice. I'm contemplating separation and divorce. Someone I've known for 25 years became a stranger in 10 seconds. I physically got sick thinking back on those remarks that he made to his father. My husband always went white as a ghost when he said those kinds of things, and that was possibly the only thing he actually gave out to him for, but it makes me feel sick all the same.